Widows, balls and ghouls, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to be ranking the vampire movie. So this is a tier list. You can go to tiermaker.com, type in the search bar, whatever tier list you want to find, and it'll give you a blank table and images of DVD covers, video covers, whatever, that you can drag and drop into tier lists. So how it works is, here we have all of the vampire movies that have been put into this tier list. We have God Mode, which is the ultimate in vampire movies, and there's one or two on here. And we've got A, B, It Sucks, Stake It, which is for the worst of the worst. And then we've got I've not seen it, because there's going to be some on here that I have not seen. So Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie. I enjoyed the series when I did watch it. I didn't watch a lot of it, but I loved this movie as a kid. I was still in school when this movie came out. I enjoyed it. I don't even remember the cast other than Matthew Perry. It was a good, fun movie. I enjoyed it. It'll go into B tier. Next up, we've got The Lost Boys. There's only one place for this, God Mode. Of all of the vampire movies, The Lost Boys is my absolute favourite. I adore this movie. The soundtrack is epic. For 80s nostalgia, it's amazing. You got the sexy saxophone guy, that's amazing. The cast, Kiefer Sutherland, Corey Feldman, Corey Haim, just so well cast. You'll recognise everybody in this. Bill from Bill and Ted is one of the vampires. Everybody in this is just really, really good. It's funny. It's got horror elements to it. And Kiefer Sutherland looks badass in this movie. He is the only man that made a mullet look really, really cool. Okay, Dracula. This is one of the Hammer horrors. Without rewatching all of the Hammer horror Dracula movies, I'm not 100% sure which one this is just off this cover. I grew up watching Hammer horror movies with my grandfather. I love these movies. More for nostalgia. You know, they haven't aged very well at all, but you've got to take into account how old these things are. They were all made before I was born. But I used to love sitting with my grandfather on a Saturday afternoon and watching some old school horror movies, Universal monster movies as well. I always enjoyed them. I'm going to put that in A tier. If it wasn't for these movies back in the day, we would never have progressed on to the likes of The Lost Boys, etc. The original Blade. What a soundtrack. I don't like rave or dance music or whatever the style of music is in this movie, but it works so well. Wesley Snipes, he's badass. The movie's dark. They took a Marvel property when Marvel films were mocked and ridiculed, and they made it cool. And if it wasn't for Blade, we would never have got X-Men and what has now turned into this Marvel Cinematic Universe. Love it or hate it, I love it. Even the films people say are awful in the MCU, I still enjoy. I even liked Thor Love and Thunder. I'm a nerd, but really enjoy this movie. I'm going to put it in God Mode. Okay, Near Dark. I believe I've seen it. Don't remember it. I don't know if it would be fair to put it in It Sucks, because I don't remember it. So I'm going to put it in B tier. I've definitely seen it. I definitely didn't hate it, but I don't really remember it. Okay, Let the Right One In. I don't know if this is the American version or the original version. I love both of them. Very good movies, very dark. I like them. You can go in A tier. There's some really weird stuff in these films, but I like them. From Dusk Till Dawn. Now, the first time I watched From Dusk Till... I wanted to go to the cinema to watch it. Unfortunately, the laws in the UK in regards to age verification to watch movies is quite strict, so I couldn't get into the cinema to watch this. The first time I watched it with one of my best mates when we were kids, and we had it on like a bootleg video. Put it on, and I'm watching what to me was just like this badass action movie full of swearing and violence and blood, and I'm like, this is a cool movie. And then suddenly there's like a record scratch where the movie just twists into this horror movie. This thing has so many quotable lines that are still used now. I mean, and let's not forget, this is George Clooney, peak George Clooney. I mean, this movie was so iconic. A lot of 80s and 90s kids have god-awful tribal tattoos from their neck all the way down to their elbows because of this movie. And yeah, at one point it was going to go all the way down to my hand, just like his, because it looked so cool. Ah, how times change and how much regret I have with some of my tattoos. But it's another God mode. Absolutely fantastic movie. Tarantino's brilliant in it. Salma Hayek looks phenomenal in this film. The vampires, when they turn, I love the effects of it, the comedy of it, the blood, the gore. Absolutely fantastic. The original Fright Night. I don't have the nostalgia for this because I didn't watch it until I was sort of in my 20s. And I enjoyed it, but it didn't age that well for a first time viewing. So I know a lot of people put this in the God tier. It's not quite there for me because I don't have the nostalgia. It is a fantastic movie. I really enjoy it. And it can go into the A tier. I'm probably going to piss some people off for this, but I have not enjoyed a single Underworld movie. Just don't like them. I don't know why. There's just something about them that I don't like. To me, they're like the Resident Evil movies. They just popcorn flicks, but not enjoyable for me. It's going in, it sucks. Sorry. The Fright Night remake. I don't know what the public opinion is on this. I really enjoy this movie. I think it's every bit as good as the original. Colin Farrell is fantastic in this. He's creepy, yet you can see why people fall for his charm and stuff. It's a funny movie, really enjoyable, and David Tennant is absolutely awesome in this. And Anton Yelchin, who was tragically taken far too young, such a great actor. He was great as Chekhov in Star Trek. What was the movie he did where he could see like evil spirits or demons? Odd Thomas, loved that film. Very, very good actor. The Green Room with him, awesome. This is going into the A tier as well. The original Nosferatu. I watched this with my grandfather as a kid, and it scared the crap out of me. There's a remake from this year, which is one of the best vampire films there is. The original Nosferatu, that's going into the A territory as well. John Carpenter's Vampires. I was so excited for this movie because I love John Carpenter. The cast was fantastic, but I was let down by this movie massively. It's going into B. I know some people love it. I'm not one of them. Queen of the Damned. Technically a sequel to Interview with the Vampire. Soundtrack is phenomenal. Everything else about this movie absolutely sucks. Stuart Townsend as Lestat, he is no replacement for Tom Cruise. I am not a Tom Cruise fan. I don't enjoy Tom Cruise movies. Tom Cruise's Lestat was so good. It's one of the few Tom Cruise movies I can sit through and enjoy his performance. And then he gets replaced by this guy that, just bores the pants off me. Sadly, Aaliyah died before the end of filming, but the effects in this film were garbage. The script is garbage. Stake it. I watched it once and hated it, and I rewatched it again because I like the soundtrack. And Jonathan Davis from Korn is in the movie for a brief blink and you miss a cameo, and it was even worse the second time around. Some people love this thing. I am not one of them. Not at all. I can't even tell what this is. I don't recognize the DVD cover. It's going to have to go into have not seen it. Right, actually, while we're here, I'm going to take out the ones that I have not seen. I need to see this, The Addiction. Somebody was talking about this the other night. I definitely need to watch it. I don't recognize that. That can go in. Not seen that. I've not seen that. Oh, there's so many of these I haven't seen. Hey, so I've taken out the ones that I have not seen. I need to watch The Addiction. I think I need to watch Once Bitten. These are ones I want to see. I don't know what this is. I don't recognize it. I've never heard of Vamp. I've never heard of Shadow of the Vampire, unfortunately. 30 Days of Night. This is an A-tier movie for me. I love the fact that they're in Alaska. They're going to get a month of no sunlight and vampires descend. This film is gory. Josh Hartnett. It's probably the most grown-up role Josh Hartnett played at the time, and he's absolutely brilliant in it. You take him seriously as an action hero in this movie because it's, while the whole idea of vampires is quite ridiculous, this is he plays a very believable guy fighting against them. It's very good. Very, very good movie. Definitely belongs in the A tier. Borderline God mode. Dracula Untold. I've got this on DVD. Didn't go to the cinema to watch it. I bought it on DVD, and I barely remember this movie because I was bored out of my skull. Obviously, there's a Welshman playing Dracula, or Vlad the Impaler before he becomes Dracula. Charles Dance is in there, but yeah, it's gonna go into it sucks, I'm afraid. I really didn't enjoy it. Dracula 2009, I can go and stake it. That film was shit. Absolutely shit. It was typical early 2000s stupid horror. I just didn't enjoy a thing about it. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter sucked. I didn't enjoy it. It was cool the first time. It was a bit of a giggle, but for the most part, I didn't enjoy it at all. Dracula's Daughter. I've probably seen this, but I don't remember anything about it, so I'm not going to put in sucks or stake it. I'm going to put in I've not seen it, even though I probably have, just because I don't remember it. Bram Stoker's Dracula with Winona Ryder and Gary Oldman. God mode. I love this movie. It's not strictly a horror, it's more of a love story mixed in with horror, but it is so well done. The effects on Gary Oldman in this are next level for the time. Gary Oldman is fantastic. Winona Ryder is fantastic. Keanu Reeves, he cannot do a British accent, but I get some weird enjoyment out of his performance. He's trying, you know, but he's the only negative in this masterful film. I absolutely adore it. Blade 2, if it wasn't for the rubber band men CGI fight in front of the lights, this would be god tier. It's got some of my favourite insults between Ron Perlman and Blade. Absolutely love this movie. If it wasn't for the rubber band effects that made this movie look older than the original, this would be A tier, and I would enjoy it more than the first. This would be god tier. I love the effects of obviously the vampires when the mouths open up. When I was a kid, Bros, it was one of the worst pop groups on the planet. And to see Luke Goss, or was it Matt Goss? I can't tell, they both look alike. To see one of the twins from Bros in this, being such a nasty, horrible villain that's quite scary. Absolutely amazing. I wish I could put it into God mode, but some of the rubber band men effects in this movie severely let it down. Going into A tier. I can't see past that thing with the lights. It pisses me off. What We Do in the Shadows. Definitely not a horror, but absolutely hilarious. I missed this on release, but somebody was like, yeah, you need to go and check this out. You'll love it. It is my type of humor. I love this movie, but it's not serious. I'm going to put it as a comedy, as a vampire movie that I will watch over and over again. It'll go into B. If this was a tier list of comedic horror movies, it would be up in God mode, along with Tucker and Dale versus Evil. That film is so good. All right, let me in. This is the American version. Let the right one in is the Norwegian version. Either way, I like both films equally. They are quite different. There's different... Well, the story is the same. There's variations of it. I enjoy both of them. Twilight Breaking Dawn. Right, I don't know which is the first Twilight, but I've seen the first one, and I haven't seen any of the rest because it sucked. I was with somebody else in a relationship. They took me to the cinema to watch it, and I ended up sat in the hallway. As soon as the twinkly, sparkly vampires, I was like, fuck this. Fuck this film. I'm leaving. I hate, with a passion, I hate the Twilight films. So that can go into Stake It, and you know, even though I haven't seen it, that's going into Stake It because it's just more of the same crap. Vampire Lovers, I have seen this one. It was one of those films my grandfather let me watch. My grandmother was cringing because it's risky. I'm going to put in B. Not the most memorable, but nostalgia. I love these movies. Salem's Lot. There is a scene in this movie, or this mini TV show. There is a scene that everybody remembers, and it terrified everyone. You know, the one scratching on the window, let me in. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. This is a Stephen King movie or mini-series at its finest. I adore this. It is fantastic. The casting is great. The only complaint I have is there's not quite enough of the vampire. Straker is excellent and creepy, yet you can see he has like a little bit of charm in him. For an old movie, this is in the 70s, it is such a good one, and that's going into God mode as well. Did I tell you I love vampire movies? Dracula Dead and Loving It. I love Leslie Nielsen. I love Leslie Nielsen's Naked Gun movies. I loved him in Creepshow. This wasn't that great, but I get some weird enjoyment out of it. I'm going to put it into the B tier. Nicolas Cage, Vampire Kiss. Another one I know I've seen, but I barely remember it, so it's going to have to go into it sucks. Nicolas Cage is very hit and miss. He's capable of doing amazing things. Like, watch Leaving Las Vegas. He is such a great actor, and then he's capable of some absolute turd. This wasn't one of those absolute turds, but I barely remember it. Thirst. I've not seen Thirst. That's going to have to go there. Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. I have seen it. Didn't enjoy it. I'm going to put it in sucks. Kronos. I don't think I've seen that. This isn't going well. Innocent Blood. I saw it. My mum used to work in a video shop or run a video shop when I was a kid. And I used to hire out all the vampire movies, and nah, it sucks. What is this? I've not seen that. I've not seen that. I think I've seen this. I don't think I enjoyed it. Priest. I've seen... nah. Stake it. Blade Trinity. Now, Blade Trinity is universally hated by everybody. Kind of enjoy it. It's nowhere near as good as Blade or Blade 2. But Ryan Reynolds' version of Hannibal Caine, while it kind of pisses on the comic book, he's hilarious. And you can see it's the start of Deadpool for him. I enjoy this movie. There's some weird effects. The cast is too big. I can rewatch this. It doesn't suck. It's going to go into B tier. Brides of Dracula. I've definitely seen this. It's definitely a nostalgia thing for me with my grandfather. I'm going to put this into E tier just because of how much I love these old horror movies that I used to watch. Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman and Kate Beckinsale. First time I watched this movie, I loved it. Second time I watched this movie, I loved it. And then I didn't watch it for like a decade. And I watched it about 2 years ago and I was like, this movie isn't that great. The effects are pretty decent for the time. Hugh Jackman is Hugh Jackman. He is a good actor. Kate Beckinsale is a good actress. It's not terrible, but it's not the greatest. So I'm sorry, that's going into B. Interview with the Vampire. One of the few Tom Cruise films I can watch and really, really enjoy his performance. There's not many of them. For the most part, if I see Tom Cruise in a movie poster, I'll do my best to avoid it. I just don't like the guy as an actor. I don't like him. I don't really like anything he's done outside of acting. I just don't like him. Him playing Lestat was amazing. Brad Pitt, at the time, quite a newcomer onto the scene, this pretty boy. I think he did a great job. Kirsten Dunst as a child actor, off the charts. She was so good as a child actor. Playing first a child that wakes up all confused, and then an adult stuck in a child's body. The film, Antonio Banderas plays an awesome villain. It's a beautifully shot film. Christian Slater's good in it. I adore this movie. One of my favourite vampires. It's going into God mode. One of the original Dracula Universal monster movies. Again, something I would watch with my grandfather. It's going into A tier. Just nostalgia. Byzantium. I didn't even know that was... I've not seen Byzantium. Because I didn't know it was a vampire movie. I've heard of it, but I've never watched it. Jesus. There's more going in that I have not seen. So this isn't the original Nosferatu, is it? Got the original Nosferatu there. Did I not have the original... Oh, there. I thought that was the original Nosferatu. Right, I'm not sure what this is. If this is the 2025 remake, can't tell. I'm going to treat this as the 2025 remake, and it's going into God mode. This is one of the best vampire films ever made. It's a bridge between Count Olaf's Nosferatu and Bram Stoker's Dracula. Obviously, Nosferatu was somebody taking Bram Stoker's tale and changing it up for themselves, and that's what they did with this remake. Bill Skarsgård is phenomenal in this movie. The way he changes it, the pitch of his voice is so deep and creepy. The effects on him are absolutely amazing. It's kind of a throwback to these movies that I used to watch with my grandfather as a child. Johnny Depp's daughter is fantastic in it. I don't think I've seen her in anything else. She's really good. The cast is great. There's just nothing. There's nothing about this movie that I didn't enjoy. And I plan on rewatching it again really soon, just because of how much enjoyment I got out of it. Daybreakers. Now, it's not a bad movie, but it is quite slow, and it is quite a drag for me. I wouldn't go as far as to say it sucks. It's far better than Underworld and all of these others, but I put it in B. I'll never rewatch it. It was fine, but quite boring. There's so many films above it that I would rewatch, and movies down here that I clearly need to watch, that I'll never rewatch it. So it goes into It Sucks. A bit harsh, but there we go. And finally, The Horror of Dracula. Again, another one I would have watched with my grandfather. Nostalgia and all the rest of it. I love the cheesy old Hammer horrors. I've rewatched a lot of them in the last sort of 10 years, you know, with different film subscription services and things like that. I'm able to watch a lot more of these old things, and I enjoy them every time. A lot of people are going to say, oh, those movies suck, but it's the nostalgia. I mean, my grandparents are sadly not with me anymore, and a Saturday morning and afternoon was always Godzilla movies, vampire movies, werewolf movies, or Robocop, Terminator. All the stuff my parents wouldn't let me watch. My grandparents let me watch them, and I love watching these movies with them. My grandmother would just be rolling her eyes, these are crap. Don't let him watch that. And my grandfather was like, he'll enjoy it. And I always did. So do please let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Any of the have not seens that I need to see, or am I better off just ignoring them? Any of these movies in Stake It that you think are really good? I know a lot of you are going to be like, you put Underworld in It Sucks. Personal taste. I'm allowed to have it, as are you. Much love to you all. Beardo out.